Hello and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. My name is Mike and I am the person behind the empire, the Dad and Buried online. I'm the king of all media, actually. Has anyone ever used that term?
I think you're the first one.
It's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the blogosphere, as they like to say.
The blogosphere is huge right now.
What would they call podcast world? The podcast world?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty much all the media I think there is.
Yeah,
that's fake news. I am not part of fake news.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not.
You really missed the boat.
This episode.
Yeah, you really missed the boat on that one.
And the man who is not laughing at any of my jokes is Pete. You know why? They weren't jokes. They weren't jokes.
That's right. I'm a parenting enthusiast, so I enjoy parenting. I have a lot of kids. Specifically, had a lot of kids in order to start a podcast. So
mission accomplished.
Yeah.
But anyone who's ever listened to this knows that you're not enthusiastic about parenting, and neither am I.
No, I'm not. And no one's enthusiastic about this podcast either. So let's get it straight.
That's also true. I thought you were going to say that nobody's enthusiastic about parenting during the quarantine, and that's an understatement.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, come on. It's tough enough when we're going to work and coming back. It's a whole nother ball game when it's like my office mate is my 8-year-old. As much as I actually do like it, it's it's cute, but every once in a while we have like actual arguments about sitting down.
Etiquette.
Yeah. Workplace etiquette. It's just not appropriate to be bringing your kitty to office. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Is she one of the ones who is she sitting there in the back like sniffling instead of blowing her nose and like there's like a cadence to it and every like 11 seconds?
No, luckily not. No.
Have you ever been in like a class where you're like taking a quiz or an exam and you're like get your head down, you're trying to do it, and someone is doing that, and you just can't hear anything else, and you turn around and you're just like you're staring daggers at David Donnarummo, and you're like, motherfucker, go blow your goddamn nose. That's what my 9-year-old is like. My 9-year-old hates blowing his nose.
That's good. Good times.
So I was going to say that the quarantine, it's like parenting on steroids or parenting in overdrive. But what I'm wondering is if it isn't also sometimes parenting in underdrive. So do you find yourself, obviously we're all forced to be parents 24/7 in a way that working parents who like go off to an office and parents whose kids go to school get a little bit of a reprieve. But at the same time, it is so intense that sometimes the only way to handle it is by checking out and maybe being a little bit, more lax in the rules and the enforcement and the interaction, more screen time, more you in the other room, I don't care, you're sleeping in more or whatever. Which of those do you find to be true? Overdrive or underdrive?
I think, that's a good. It's really both at the most extreme levels. So I remember used to get up at 6:00. We don't do that anymore. We get up at 7:30, which is amazing. Right? It's awesome. Huge, right? An hour and a half in. And so that's huge. But then at the same time, it's like the school day's over at 1. Like what?
Yeah.
No. That like how can the school day be over at 1? And then you're trying to get stuff done, and then like how do you adjusting your work schedule to your now like making lunch and having
hard to make it schedule.
We've got something going on. We've got some semblance of a schedule.
Stacy's mom has got it going on too.
That's true, but So good ways in some ways. Also, I have no idea. Is it today Saturday or is it Wednesday? I have no idea.
We've talked about this before. I really never know. Like that used to be sometimes like you would make that joke, but nowadays, like I don't know the difference between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know Monday. I do know Monday because the difference the difference that we've put in place for like how to differentiate a weekend day from a school day for the kids is simply what they can watch on their screens. Like that differentiates what day of the week it is. According to my 5-year-old, Dad, when is it the weekend? I just want to be able to watch like what I want to watch. Instead, I make them watch. They have to watch like some sort of educational show, like Planet Earth or something awesome. There's like tons of like awesome kid shows.
Planet Earth stuff is cool.
Yeah, it's great. And then, but it's it's such a drag. And then of course they get to watch whatever's like on Disney Plus.
So it's funny you should say that. So the topic this week is, since we're all forced to be in close quarters with our family at all times, the topic is the different things we're doing together with our families to keep everybody sane, to keep your kids entertained, to fill time, to kill time.
Okay. All right. Nope. Definitely don't.
What do you call it? Hardcore quality.
Hardcore quality time is what we're in right now.
Because usually as a parent, you do sometimes want that quality time, but now we're together so often that even the quality time is just, you're just like, it's part of the routine. Like, all right, now we have to do something together as a family because there's literally nothing to do. No one can go anywhere.
Right.
And you can't always be in separate rooms, just most of the time.
Right. All right. So before we get into it, why don't we go ahead and say thank you to all the amazing people that are helping us out.
All the people who support us by subscribing and rating us on Apple and everywhere else that you can get your podcast, and the people who throw us some money on Anchor and Patreon. Let's run through those folks. Ryan Miller and MS Babayan on Anchor. Check Your Kid to the Door. Chris Coleman, MC Daniel 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam, Tina Davis on the Single Dad tier on Anchor. Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill Domica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govard, Morning Glow, the Dad Bod tier. That's level 2 on Anchor. Cotton Farmer AZ, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, Julie McCarthy, Paula Polsky on the Father Figure tier. And Mary Williams and Julie Burton on the World's Greatest Dad tier. Haven't heard from Mary Williams in a while, I don't think. Although sometimes I forget people's handles.
Yeah. Well,
today
you know
for
what?
Dinner we grilled today, and I used some from barbecue sauce from Kansas City, which is where KSU Julie Burton is from.
Okay. Wow.
And she will not stop telling you about it.
What an amazing segue.
Did you like that segue?
You really you threaded that perfectly.
So you guys can support us on Patreon and Anchor with some dough if you have any, or you can just give us ratings and reviews and subscribe. Right? All
right. Yeah, that's right.
And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about. So the way I phrased it was, let me hear. I don't know. I went on a long-winded thing about all the different things people are doing to fill their time with their kids, because it's not. You can't just go to the bar by yourself to kill a few hours. Now you've got to be in the room with your kids and drink. You're not even doing that.
I know. Soon.
But I wanted the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
May 5th for Pete. When's our next recording date?
I don't know. I got to look it up. I don't have.
Maybe you'll have a beer by then.
Yeah, maybe. All right. We'll see you right after this.
All right, we are back to the Dad and Buried podcast. We're talking about hardcore quality time and the way we're surviving quarantine in close quarters with our families. And Pete, you said that you had an anecdote. I'm not going to call it a funny anecdote because I haven't heard it yet.
No, it's not. It's just the routine. You know, we now have, everyone has it. You know, they get up in the morning, you're doing breakfast, and then there's a point in the day which you're either out in the yard or you're doing something with the kids. You got to get them out. They got to be doing something. Or if you have a place that's big enough, you're running around in the basement like throwing Nerf footballs at their heads or something awesome like that.
Comment about something like that later. I can't wait to read.
Yeah, but honestly, at our household, the number one thing that has saved all of it, has created an unbelievable bond, has been playing Zelda. Breath of the Wild. I got it the first day of that we were locked in. My 5-year-old came to me and he was like, "You're crying," because he said that he didn't even tell me what he wanted. He just said I wasn't gonna. There was no point in him telling me what was wrong because I was never gonna get it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "What's happening?" He's like, let's get this Zelda. Get Zelda. We've been playing it as a family.
Did you have to get the cartridge or is it downloaded?
No, we got a Switch for Christmas. I got the kids a Switch for Christmas, but we've been playing Zelda for literally every single day for like 2 to 3 hours a day.
But doesn't that
the greatest
2 to 3
thing
hours
ever.
go by in like 10 seconds? That's the problem with video games.
I mean, you should say everyone. I should say it. When I say everyone, I mean everyone except for my wife plays.
Okay.
And when she hears us talking about divine beasts and
Oh my God.
Van Narbolis and basically shrines and trying to find them, she's like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" Like,
So
just
you
it's
guys
so
sit
insane.
around. You sit around with your son and your daughters talking about the games, like
We're
the
deep into it.
quests.
Everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you use
Everything.
any cheats? Any like you ever like get stumped and go online?
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
my
I'm
son
not.
did that too.
I'm not a maniac. Come on. I do have some sort of semblance of humanity left in me.
Have you gotten? I know at one point you can get a horse or two. Have you gotten any
Yeah.
horses?
Oh,
What are their names?
horses,
What have you
everything.
named them?
Lucy is one of our horses, and the
Loosie, like a cigarette, right?
yeah, exactly, and Shiv, Lucy and Shiv.
I love
But
it.
no, but that's actually been that, and then we've been doing bike ridings for exercise. But we have been doing some hardcore hanging out, and I gotta say it can be really good. It can be good. The Zelda stuff I'm
Can be
super
good.
into. Yeah, but it
So it's
also can be
funny.
brutal.
There weren't a lot of comments this week about video game playing, and I suspect that for most people, not for everybody, because it's pretty popular, especially like our generation and slightly younger, for adults to play video games. But for most people, I feel like their kids go off and do that, and they do it separately. And most of the stuff we're talking about this week is stuff that everybody does together. So I got my son. My son plays video games. My littlest mostly plays like Fortnite, or not Fortnite, like Minecraft and Roblox or whatever.
Hmm.
But I downloaded John Madden Football. I don't think it's even called John Madden, and I haven't played that in years. Maybe like one or two games, and like visiting the in-laws over the past like 5 years. And it's really complicated, and
Oh
it's
my God,
fun.
dude. It's so complicated now.
It's
You're
so
like,
complicated.
I don't know. This play is at the level of like Texas A&M,
But
like you're at college level. You're like, I don't
not
know.
only that, not only are like the schemes and the
Yeah, they're
plays
so
really
complicated.
complex, and if you're on defense, like first of all, if you're like playing quarterback, you gotta like know your reads,
Yeah.
like what's the coverage, and if you're on defense, like you gotta play the right guy, you gotta anticipate what they're gonna do. Like I like all that stuff. I'm not really good at all of it, but I like that stuff. But just learning the controls is hard. But also you can play like franchise mode, which is instead of like doing season mode, which is the old way, you can do franchise mode where you can either be the owner, you can be the coach, or you can be a player and play a whole like season or couple years that way. And just setting all that stuff up, because I did it, or I set it up. Just setting that stuff up took me like 2 hours. I played for like 5 minutes. The rest of them, I'm like typing my name with a coach in and drafting players. It's really involved.
Yeah, I mean, and I think does Detective Munch play with you, or
He
is he just
despises sports in all
yeah,
forms and has no
okay.
interest.
Okay, so you're basically trying to like get away from the kids by
But
playing
it's so
Madden.
hard. It
Yeah,
eats
yeah,
up so much time so quickly. And the video game is in my kid's bedroom. So like once they go to bed, I'm not down there
yeah, yeah.
playing. So my only time to play is like really random times, like on the weekend where they're like watching a movie with their mom, and like she's okay with me not being in the room for the movie, like that kind of thing. I've done it once so far for like 2 hours, and an hour and 40 minutes of it was setting up my franchise and looking at what each control button does.
Nice.
But I do get a lot of that, because I do think that's mostly a separate activity. Although there were some people that were like, because I've complained before about like when my kid tries to talk to me about one of the video games. I don't want to watch someone else play video games. I don't want to listen to your video games. It's like telling somebody about your fantasy football or your dreams. Nobody cares, right? But that bunch of people commented, be like, oh, that's how I bond with my kids. You know what? Different strokes for different folks.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Talk
what I
about
like, what I like is how you just immediately dismiss someone else's. Like, no, I like it. Nope, nope. It's
Not
garbage.
for me. Not for me.
All right. Well, let's get into it then. Let's see what we got.
Okay, so the first, I broke these into categories, but at the top, I kind of put a couple that kind of encapsulated all of it. So Hassan House reached out to me and said, I'm grateful, said that this is how they're surviving quarantine time with their family. She said, I'm grateful my husband and I still leave the house to go to work because kids are jerks. So they're still working. Most days I would rather work with the COVID patients I work with than be home with the kids all day. And I imagine how we all feel because we're home. But also I'm super grateful for the earthquake we had at the beginning of this of the week and the weekly aftershocks that have been constant. They're a little bit more fun. They're a little bit fun and provide some excitement. Yeah. So I guess there was an earthquake in this area at the beginning of the quarantine. And there's been aftershocks. That is pretty dire to be like, I'm bored.
This person really doesn't want to be at home.
No. The best part of her being at home is the earthquakes.
Yeah, exactly.
We all have to cower under door frames. It's great.
Yeah.
Alicia Mowry says, my husband is still working. Another one, right? 11 hours a day, 6 days a week. So no more family bonding than usual. But her 4-year-old and she have been doing a lot of art projects, science experiments, cosmic kids yoga, which a lot of people talk about on YouTube, board games, etc. I keep calling things activities. And the other day during a science experiment, my daughter said, I love doing activities with you, but when the sickness is gone, I'll go back to just liking them because I'll be too busy with my friends. These kids are savage, man.
Yeah, they are brutal.
So Fuzzdeg, Fuzzdeg, when I suggested, I asked what kind of quality bonding time she's doing, and she said, like letting my 7-year-old cut vegetables with a chef's knife. So it's funny because there are a handful of parents who are like, I'm teaching my kid this particular thing, whether on purpose or just incidentally because they're in the room. No one besides Fuzzdeg mentioned cutting vegetables. Do you cook with your kids?
No, but we have started baking. Is sort of on the spectrum of things that we do. I feel a little bit. I feel like we've definitely helicoptered them way too much in the kitchen. Like everything's it's too hot. Everything's hot, and so they're like, totally freaked out by knives.
Somebody said that like it's difficult. Like somebody mentioned they were like cooking with their kids and was like, it's hard because you have to like let go of control.
Yeah.
But she's like, but it's been pretty good. And Mama Buried has cooked a couple of things with Detective Munch, and he seemed to like it, which is the whole point, right? Is to like expose them to random things. Who knows which they're gonna like? It's why I'm trying to get my kid to do stuff, but he doesn't like to do anything.
Well, I'm like, my 12-year-old, she's like, Dad, can I have some toast? I'm like, sure. Well, just put some toast in. She's like, I'm scared. Like, I blew it. We blew it. We totally blew it. Like, well, how are you scared to be just?
Is that an excuse? Because my toddler, when I'll ask him to go get something across the room, he'll just suddenly go, my leg hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, my arm, Caddyshack. Yeah. Little Charmer 80, who comments every week, she's very faithful, says, we have exhausted every shitty craft activity and they do not last long enough. We bought a trampoline. They go in it for 5 minutes and they start yelling and screaming at each other. We had a sand pit. Now our garden looks like a sand pit. Thank God for TV, Netflix, Disney Plus, and the BBC iPlayer is all I can say. So she's gone through pretty much everything. That's kind of like my situation, except we don't have a trampoline or a garden or a sand pit. Really, we just have screens, but we'll get into that.
You know what's struck me the other day is, as much as this is like crazy and a total pain in the ass, but like the thought that everyone else is going through the exact same thing at the same time, there's this it really puts it in this very unique context where I don't care, right? Like whatever I'm doing is the right thing because I don't care, because someone else is doing something and it could be worse or it could be better, but I know that they're at home and I know that they're doing it. No one's like having a good
missing
time.
Out. There's no FOMO.
No one's going to museums. They're exactly what Little Charmer Amy said. They're either in the backyard on the trampoline, and in 5 seconds they're going to start fighting. At which point I'm going to come out there and start throwing elbows. You know what I mean? Like you're
going to end the fight.
I'm just going to do like the WWE move all over the place.
I'm reluctant to do that stuff because you can't really get to an ER these days. So that I gave my son a bloody nose once by accident. We were play fighting. I don't want that to be happening. Although maybe the cops don't catch wind of it.
Exactly.
We're not making light of this kind of thing, folks. So it's funny that you said that everybody's in the same boat, and I think that's why a lot of people are being like, "Do what you got to do to survive." Like we're trying not to be judgmental.
Yes.
So Daymo 214-2019, which sounds almost like 867-5309.
But it's such a tight handle.
Yeah,
it's so good.
If it's Daymo 214-2019, but you won't forget that now. We'll find out next week.
Is it a date? Is it a specific date in 2019?
Yeah, I think it's Valentine's Day 2019. It was a really special.
Let's skip this one then. Anyone who has Valentine's Day as their handle we just have to skip.
So she says that she's been building model rockets, gardening, and being home with her furloughed husband, and she put for 2 months in all caps, right? And that is the thing, right? 2 months of this is a long time to be stuck with one person, with two people, with three people. It is rough, and you got to fill some time. And it's why we have ended up all the family bonding that normally you do like one or two things a weekend. You're doing like one or two things a day just to get through the week, and you're running out of stuff. Like Little Charmer 80 has gone through it all. And one of the big categories, and which we haven't done much of, and now I'm worried that Mama Barry can hear me talking because now she's going to want to do it. Board games.
Oh yeah.
Are you a board game family?
You know what? We're not traditionally a board game family, but you know what? We
are. Yeah.
We certainly are now. And guess what our board game of choice is?
If you say Monopoly, I'll kill you. Sorry.
No, sorry. It's great. No, it's not. It's absolutely. First of all, you need a game that a 5-year-old can play.
And you want to hear your kids say sorry more than you ever
And
will.
I just want to say sorry. And the best is what's so great about sorry is you can start to see like how vindictive your kids are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you can really gauge them. You're like, wow, man, that was cold. Or sometimes like a kid will be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to like, you know what? I'm going to choose the other one. I'm just going to like there's a couple options for moves.
It's basic enough that a 5-year-old can play it, but interesting enough that it's not like Candyland where everybody who's like older than 6 hates it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Candyland, there's like no skill in it whatsoever. No. You're just totally random. I mean, the only skill in it is strategically placing the lollipop, which is the one that's furthest up the thing. Counting the number of cards because you're counting cards, and then you pick it up and you're like, oh, and then happens every single time you play Candyland. That's how you know a winner from a loser.
I was gonna say the only skill involved is being able to identify colors, and I am colorblind, so I don't even have that. So a lot of people talked about board games. Check Your Kids at the Door said every game ends in a fight, and I can vouch for that 100%. It doesn't matter if it's Monopoly, although I do think Monopoly remains the undefeated champion of most fights 100%. Caused.
Also, but like, who has time? Speaking of Madden, setting up Madden, who has time for a 12-hour game? 12 hours of anything? Because that's how long it takes.
Monopoly can really go for a long time. If it's a good game, it goes forever. I always liked the Life when I was a kid.
I never
Life now.
I never got into Life at all.
I like Life because you got to choose your profession, sort of, and a journalist made like $18,000, which was great, and the lawyer made $50,000. Fun fact: back in like 1984. Cotton Farmer AZ says, I have to play stupid ass games with my 5-year-old. Checkers, Candyland, Trivial Pursuit, the kid version. I didn't know there was a kid version.
Yeah,
I'm all over.
That's kind of cool. I kind of love Trivial Pursuit. We don't have it here, but I love that game.
So the problem is, in the 90s or the early 2000s, they switched Trivial Pursuit so that like the version my parents had was like actual like legit trivia from like textbooks.
Hard.
Yes, very hard. And all the entertainment questions were about like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and like Bob Hope.
It was like the deep purple, not the deep purple. It was the teal.
Color, yeah,
it was like the deep teal.
But now, and I think even during the 80s, they had some good ones. They had some good additions. But now they've made them also like they're almost all trick questions, or like the answer is like in the question. Like just they fundamentally changed the nature of the information in it. It's much more pop culture and kind of general knowledge stuff. And there's the minutia is gone. It's really disappointing. But the kid version, I'm interested in checking out. Justice actually plays Would You Rather. Now, is that a board game or is it just like the drinking game or whatever?
That's a drinking game with sexual overtones.
Yes. Well, that must be fun. It's one way to bond with your family. Exactly. And she says, then I have to handle my kids crying when she doesn't win. You know what? Get used to it, kid.
Guess what? She's never going to win. You're never going to win Would You Rather against your parents. Give me a break.
That's true. Melissa Taffy with 2 A's and 2 F's says, I can't play one more ducking game of Clue. Damn autocorrect. My 10-year-old sucks at it. And then I wrote, so does my 9-year-old. My 9-year-old's problem with it is he leaves his cards everywhere. He's showing people stuff. He wants to like whisper to his mom like what he's got. And then when you're like, buddy, like like you're supposed to like bluff, and he'll be like, I don't like lying, and then you're like, God damn it, now I'm teaching this kid to enjoy lying or else he's going to lose the game. Like none of it goes well.
Again, this is why it's just too many rules. That's why you come back to that sweet sorry. I mean, Uno's another good one. Like just where you keep it easy.
So many people talk about Uno.
It's good, man. And then you can really like nail people. It's awesome.
Jen A with 5 N's and 4 A's, which I think is a Forrest Gump reference. Yes, Jen A says Monopoly. She plays Monopoly games with her bigger kids. It starts off nice and relaxing, ends with at least one person crying. 100%. Underscore not just dad says 30 minutes into a Monopoly game and you realize your wife is a hustler and the 3-year-old stuck a hotel up his nose. Is the 3-year-old playing or just sitting there? Because whenever we try to play a board game and my toddler is around, he's like crawling on the board. My 9-year-old is furious that he's screwing up the integrity of the game. It's a shit show. Yeah. And then the Uno started coming in. So Kerr, Kerr 319 says, we play Uno Slaughterhouse. It starts like Uno, ends with screaming, crying, and sometimes blood. I haven't played Uno since high school, and I don't even know. Does it get contentious?
Not if you're super good at it, and you can just destroy people. It is. It's kind of like Go Fish, but there's a little bit more strategy to it.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Freddie Heather Cook says we love Uno Flip. Is that different than Uno?
I think so. I think there's like 12 different versions.
Component.
I don't know. There's a lot of new versions of Uno now, like Monopoly.
She says she loves it because the 5-year-old can play. We keep our cards showing on the table, and it's fun for all of us. Same with Sorry. Minimal reading schools.
There you go.
High-level fuck yous with board game strategy.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
And then to segue into our next segment, she says literally fuck crafts. Because I asked if people were doing arts and crafts. She says, I'm doing dishes 3 times a day after cooking 3 meals a day. I am homeschooling a feral beast. I'll be damned if I'm cleaning up some fucking craft shit too. Here's some Lego bricks and twist up crayons. Knock yourself out. So Freddie Heather Cook, I think, exclusively responds to my questions on Facebook and puts them in the story or the response to my Facebook stories. And I don't get them as often. But she does respond a lot, and if she keeps coming with that fire, we'll be featuring her some more. That was good.
Well, let's talk about it. I think there's 2 real heroes in my household, and that is the dishwasher and the laundry machine, which have been running for, I want to say at this point, like 6 weeks straight, just solidly running. I've never yet, like yesterday, I think I reached my opus, my Mr. Holland's opus of yeah, that movie was the worst movie I've ever seen. Yes, so I don't know how I referenced it, but just the apex by packing so many dishes into the dishwasher. Of course, I had to do this when my wife was already asleep because there was no way that I could get away with it otherwise. But I had packed it so full, and I'd cleaned the plates just enough. In the morning, I actually got out of bed. That's how sick and twisted.
Excited.
Yeah, to see how clean everything was. Nailed it. 10 out of 10.
So you're saying your wife, she thinks she controls the dishwasher and she's better at loading it than you, and you didn't want her to see you loading it because she would object to your methods?
We come from 2 very different places. Very, very different places.
Same with emotionally.
And no, from a stacking of dishes standpoint, for sure.
On Saturday night, so Mom and Buried was invited by this woman Meredith who runs the That's Inappropriate page on Facebook, and I was on her podcast a few months ago, and she invited Mom and Buried on to like a video town hall, and then it turned into a couples thing. So it was me and Mom and Buried. It was Meredith from That's Inappropriate and her husband, who wore a panda head the whole time because he like stays anonymous. It's all on video, and then Martini's. Marriage and Martinis, and fellow podcasters who are in New Jersey, Danielle and Adam, and then this guy, the Dude Dad, who's like a video dude, younger dude, makes funny videos, just got a TV show, and he and his wife, I think her name was also Heather, and we talked about like pet peeves, and I brought up dishwasher loading, and how horrible my wife is at it, and how like when she's not around, I'll rearrange everything that she's done and fix it and make it more efficient and all that stuff. But that was actually fun. So that was a Zoom thing we did on Saturday night without the kids. And I drink real quick when I'm like, I drink so fast when I'm on these video things. I don't understand. But if you guys want to check that out, it's on my Facebook page at some point. So we don't do, or I don't do, and this is something that fell by the wayside. Where we were getting in trouble. I was getting in trouble with school because for the month, Mom and Barry was basically isolated and not participating in the parenting thing. I fell behind on some art projects for my kid because I don't do arts and crafts. And a bunch of people, not many though, which is nice, a handful of people agreed or disagreed with Freddie Heather Cook, who said literally fuck crafts, which is my opinion, and said they've been doing some crafts with their kids. One woman, Silva Six Love, said that we made robots out of recycled shit. Obviously, she does not mean recycled shit. Jeez. Recycled things. She said, my husband made one robot for each family member. Who is this guy?
Yeah, no, robots? Honestly, come on, stop it.
I mean, obviously, I realize that they're just sculptures that look like robots, I'm assuming. And
for a second,
they're not made out of shit.
Yeah, well, for a second, I was hoping that someone would be like, well, speaking of arts and crafts, we wallpapered our living room.
Oh, my God.
Like that would be...
You need to enlist your kids in your chores, as we've talked about. Exactly. Angbohn, Angbohn, says she's been sharing her adult art shit with her 5-year-old. They've been coloring together. Do you do that? Adult coloring books? Your wife does, I bet.
She has done in the past. She's actually quite good at it, but she's definitely done crafts with them. I'm like you. I can't really hang with the crafts.
So I don't know what class it was for, but at some point over spring break, where it was like lighter classes and like themed days for us, they had to create like a homemade arcade game, not like a video game, like skee ball or something. And I helped my kid put together a little bowling alley made out of cardboard with pins and stuff, and I was pretty proud of myself.
Nice.
Most crafty thing I've done in 30 years.
Nice.
It's been destroyed. It was destroyed within like 10 minutes, but it was beautiful when it was built. Organized Mom Chaos says she did her first time finger painting with her 2-year-old and 4-year-old. Messy, but actually fun. My kids don't like getting their fingers dirty, so they're not finger painting. They're like, ew.
Yeah, just like their dad doesn't like to get his hands dirty in the details. Am I right?
Next one's for you. Ali Ta,Ally Ta, said that they've been making slime.
Oh my God! How would you put that as something? Is that like a negative? That's all it says. Making slime.
It's no context.
I would imagine that after she was able to type those 2 words, her life fell apart because
of the slime,
or she was in some sort of throes of like, this is it, this is the end. I mean, I'm like we talked about earlier, child mortality rates, they're in real danger during this quarantine, mainly because of having slime in the living room when I specifically said don't bring slime in the living room or at all.
Not just your kids are in danger. Everyone's kids are in danger from you because of slime.
Yes. If you listen closely, you hear someone ringing a bell, riding a bike, going, slime, bring out your slime, and you run to the door. That's me trying to gauge which kids are actually out there making slime. That's right.
No, I think it's funny because through the past couple of weeks, you've been really, I think, doing a really good job being a parent, and you're coming on here and like I'm sitting here ranting about how terrible it is, and you're like, oh, I like this, and we're working alongside each other. I love it. It's all good, and then slime comes up, and you're just stone cold.
No, yeah. It's just immediate. And actually, it's funny because I've told my kids that. Like, I'll be like, you're dead. Like, if you do this, that's it. This is it. This is the end. Just and I'm like, just like Greg, poor Greg. And they're like, who's Greg? I was like,
Greg with 3 G's.
Greg,
you know who he is.
Greg didn't make it. Yeah.
So our version of slime, because we don't really do slime, is Play-Doh. And normally the Play-Doh stays at grandma's and they play with it once every 6 weeks when we visit grandma's. But my wife, I think, because she'd missed the kids so much and came out of quarantine, was like, okay, you can play Play-Doh. Made them do it outside. Of course, some ended up inside because Play-Doh is the 80s version of slime, I think. Did they have slime then?
No, of course not. That's a new phenomenon.
Howie Mandel in that movie Walk Like a Man, he sneezes and one of the gags is there's slime in his hands because it's like made by the same company that did Play-Doh. Maybe somebody who knows about that movie.
My Howie Mandel references are not what they used to be, or they're just
even funnier now because he's a germaphobe. Anyway, we're getting into the category that's near and dear to my heart, which is the screen time, really movies and TV. Mm-hmm. And Shar 217 says, I have a son who's almost 4. He's currently being raised by Disney Plus.
Yep.
He would get along very well with my son, who's just a little bit over 4, because this morning I was on a work call and he's nearby and he goes, Daddy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I got to step away from the phone call and go to the next episode of Puppy Dog Pals on Disney Plus because he'll watch like 6 in a row.
Right.
Just got him into Super Y on PBS.
There you go.
Which my eldest watched when he was a little kid. So we're trying to get some of that educational stuff in there. Check Your Kids at the Door says he has seen your favorite movie, Frozen 2, so many times that he's developed legit feelings for Anna.
That's okay.
Are you
Check
an
Your
Anna
Kids.
or an Elsa man, Pete?
I mean, come on. It's Anna. Elsa's so about herself. Come on. She's just so uppity.
Calling Elsa a narcissist.
Yeah, totally.
A blonde narcissist who's
always about
her
her
kingdom.
Meanwhile, Anna, she's the real hero in my book.
Freed Karma FTW, I think. Maybe it's supposed to be Fred Karma FTW, says, I'm contemplating showing my 2-year-old Labyrinth. All right. So your 2-year-old doesn't want to see Labyrinth. Your 2-year-old wants to watch my 9-year-old. I keep trying to entice him into Labyrinth because I don't love it, but I liked it. I haven't seen it in a long time. Who doesn't like Jennifer Connelly?
Right.
He doesn't like the fact that a girl is the star, even though he knows nothing about it. He'll be like, oh, it's about a girl. He's not interested. But I'm like, it's about a baby, a little brother who she doesn't like, who gets kidnapped or whatever. That gets him a little bit more interested. I can't find it on streaming anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I would just watch it for that scene with Bowie and the.
Oh, I know what you mean. Obviously, I mean, I watch that in my dreams every night. What we did show my 9-year-old over the weekend is Spaceballs. Have you seen that?
You did, because that's exactly what Freed Karma.
No, I added that in. That was me. The all caps was me. It's like editor's note.
You did.
So we showed Spaceballs, yes, and because he's seen all the Star Wars movies, which is basically what it spoofs. Here's the thing about.
Did he like it? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Or did he get it?
But like, he liked a lot of it. There's a lot of really dumb stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really dumb stuff, and he got some of this. He doesn't necessarily get the concept of a spoof too much, right?
Yeah.
Tried to explain that to him, and I think maybe moving forward he'll get it a little bit more. But here's the thing about Spaceballs. It's not good. All right?
Yeah.
Like Mel Brooks, God bless him, he's got some classics, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. It's too broad. The comedy's too broad for me. Not too into it. Those movies, I like some of those, but just in general, not a big Mel Brooks guy. How about you?
Yeah, no, he's the best.
It doesn't translate to little kids either.
You're obviously
as much as I thought it might.
Okay, all right. So Mel Brooks doesn't translate to
I'm a Howie Mandel man. I'm a Howie Mandel
man. Sounds like it, Mr. Slime. All right, let's.
A.R. Appleby says they did a Simpsons binge on Saturday, which she thinks is about to be her new tradition.
That's cool.
I tried that a year or two ago, and Mama
Your kids have to be the right age. You have to. The kids just need to be the right age. They need to be able to like appreciate it or understand it. I think that's.
Do you show it to merchant acquisitions?
No. We're not quite there with the Simpsons, or I mean, not that we're not there. It's just, it's really not in our. It's not in our regular rotation. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but basically, it's what can all the kids watch at the same time.
Yeah,
that's really
that's difficult.
So,
especially 12, 9, and 5.
Well, that's where things like Beastmaster. Come on, that's the ultimate Beastmaster.
The movie?
No, the ultimate Beastmaster. It's like we're like
the movie
people
Beastmaster
from around.
There's some rough scenes.
No. We save that for Carlito's Way. These are the movies that all of them can really get behind and enjoy.
I've never heard of the Ultimate Beastmaster. I think you've mentioned it before, but I still have never heard of it.
No, it's amazing. It's like all different countries, and it's essentially America Ninja Warrior, but it's Stallone. It's like Sylvester Stallone's like off-brand version of it.
It's guess good. What? It's good. None of those things that sound appealing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Kylvester Stallone and off-brand. Cool. Is it Frank Stallone? Are you sure it's not?
Except for all the kids get to watch it at the same time, and they like watching it together. Right. So that's key.
So Bentini80 says something very encouraging, and that's that screen time doesn't count during quarantine.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, which is why it's most of the family bonding time we do. Put a screen on.
Yeah.
Here's a movie we can all watch that nobody likes. The dad, Ben Len, says he gets yelled at to switch YouTube videos after 2 minutes while he's on work calls.
Yep.
That's what happens to me. I'll put something on for them to keep them occupied, and then they're like, no, next one, or start this over, or whatever. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But maybe he shouldn't be giving them 8 a.m. ice cream bowls. Maybe they'll calm down a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe that would help.
So this one's you're gonna like this stuff because there's a whole big section of people who are doing outdoor stuff with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Bike rides, which is right up your alley.
That's
SB Layden says, we hike when the weather is nice, and I taught them all my favorite card games. We don't really talk about card games besides Uno. We're going to get to that in a little while. Unfortunately for us, the weather has not been nice for the bulk of this quarantine.
It's been really lame in
rainy
the Northeast.
And dreary.
It's been like 40 degrees. I mean, and rainy. Yeah, it's not sweet.
I think we maybe turned the corner, knock on wood, and then things are really going to explode with the outdoor activities. I'll tell you that much. We're going to be watching a lot more movies with the windows open. House of Happy Helmer says they've been planting the garden, taking long walks, trying not to have the neighborhoods call in noise/domestic incidents.
Oh my God, good call. Yes,
that's the thing. When it gets warmer, the windows are open and everyone can hear you scream.
No, trust me. Everyone can hear us scream no matter what. The walls, it doesn't matter how thick those walls are. You're hearing my kids.
Dana Bosday says they have gone on countless bike rides. The 5-year-old finally has her training wheels off. They also got a fire pit and have been hanging around the fire making s'mores and drinking.
That's cool.
That sounds nice.
That's awesome. That's totally the way to go.
Torres Fam J says they've been playing a lot on the driveway. Tennis, badminton, basketball, catch, all of it. And laughing. They sound like they're having a lovely quarantine. We don't have a driveway.
Well, this kind of goes back to it, which is, there's everyone else in the world is doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
And so when the option is, hey, do you want to go out into the driveway and hit tennis balls? 2 months ago, you'd be like, actually, maybe not. Maybe go fuck off. But now that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
and
that's the one thing I haven't done yet.
Yeah, it's the one thing I haven't done. And all I want to do is play Butts Up. Have you ever played that?
What's Butts Up?
It's where you bounce the ball against the garage door. You have two people. And then if you miss the ball, if you can't catch it in one bounce, you have to go and stand next to the garage door while the other guy wails you in the ass with the.
All right, I've played. Isn't there a version of that called like Suicide, where if you miss it, you have to run and then hit the garage door and come back, or else that happens, something like that. Similar variations of similar games. Have you ever played King or Queen of the Court?
No.
Talon _1112 says they're playing a lot of hoops, pig, which is like horse, around the world, which I understand, and King or Queen of the Court, and I don't know what that means.
Maybe that's just
a basketball related game.
I think probably what it is the husband and wife, mom and dad, just kind of stand in the middle and just order their kids to stop fighting each other and just shut up.
They're never going to get the ball back.
Yeah, exactly. I hereby decree, but they say things like, I hereby decree you should stop fighting with each other on the trampoline.
When does this take place? In the 1400s?
You know what it is? It's sort of like a active real IRL role-playing game that happens all the time.
LARP.
Forever. Yeah, it's
live action role-playing. Isn't
exactly.
That what that is?
They're LARPing.
Costumes. Yeah. M.R. O'Neill says they're catching frogs at the local pond. Where do you live? Mayberry?
Yeah, are they snakehead?
You get that joke?
Yeah, I got it. It's not that good. Leave It to Beaver, whatever it is. Andy Griffith.
Get shit. Yeah.
Catching snakeheads.
The Great Dane 2013 says we've been walking through our neighborhood, 2.65 miles of workout and whining, which sounds about right.
Well,
one of my favorite ones. Go ahead. You've been doing the exercise thing, but you don't walk, you ride.
No, we've been so my kids are now, biking was always a thing in the city. It's a little harder. But we've been loving it. We go to this completely empty, this, what looks like, essentially it's like an acre of just, imagine the worst thing you've ever seen, just paved over open lot. It's not a parking lot. It's just,
Joni
it's
Mitchell
supposed
sang about it,
yeah, exactly. It's just post-apocalyptic looking half an acre just paved over. It's great for quarantine and bike riding, it turns out. So that's where we go. And then I taught my 5-year-old how to ride a bike.
So Allie Frazier 921 says that her 6-year-old finally rode her bike without training wheels.
There you go.
Huge happy mom moment.
Exactly.
Now all she wants to do is go for bike rides every day.
Yeah. No, that's the worst part about it.
Allie would rather be playing Butts Up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Paleo Pete, which I believe is not only is not Paleo Pete, not named Pete. I'm assuming it's a woman. I think she says my kid has so much energy, it's exhausting finding things for her to do every day: bike rides, hikes, kicking the footy.
Yeah, she's
you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, she's obviously
baking, crafting, gardening. She said in Australia, which is where she's from, if you didn't get it from kicking the footy, school is back already. So she wrote this on Sunday. She said school is coming back tomorrow, which was yesterday. So
wow. Good luck. Wow.
Good for them.
School is back.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, good for you.
Marcy K. Hassan, who wrote in on Facebook, says she was supposed to do a craft project with 6 empty toilet paper rolls, but I'm not that kind of mom. So instead, she loves the family bike ride. Her husband has a seat for the 1.5-year-old for the front of his bike, and he pulls the 4-year-old with a bike extension behind him. I ride my bike free of children next to them. No wonder she loves it. She's not doing
love
anything.
it. I know. My favorite thing is to get as many kids on one bike as possible. There's been 2. I've had 2 kids on, one on the front, one on the back. I'm riding. I love it. I love to try and just, those pictures of those guys that carry 2 tons worth of stuff on their tiny bikes. That's what I aspire to that.
With children.
With children. Yeah, exactly. Like
Would
Cloverfield, like a Cloverfield on a bike that just throws children off as I'm
enjoy. So let me paraphrase. You enjoy human trafficking.
I do. But they have to be small. They have to be small humans. That's what brings me the most joy. So fresh.
Oh my God. That just got weird.
I'm talking about their organs.
Wailing Scratch says, we've been picking up trash around the neighborhood. My 4-year-old loves using the grabber. You know what? I like using a grabber. Those long claw things. Those are fun. Use that around the house to hey, look, I'm grabbing the cereal box for no reason. I can reach it and it grabbed it.
Mike, the only way that thing would be used is to point things to your wife out. Just basically to be able to say, hey, honey, look at this. Look what I just got. And just reach around your wife to grab the tissues right in front.
Look what I did.
It's also known as a divorce stick.
Yeah. My Peanut Adventures reminded me of something, and I think that I may give this a try. Pokemon Go. Do you remember this game?
Yeah.
I never did it. My son was a little bit too young for it. He doesn't have a phone or anything of his own, although we could use ours. I forgot it even existed, but she's like, it's the only way we can go on walks without the kids whining about being tired and all that crap.
That's such a good idea.
That's a pretty good idea. I might look into that. My favorite comment in the outdoor section is from shortcake_08, who says, the kid wanted a tent. I built an epic backyard tent. Kid won't go in the tent or let me take it down. That's parenting summed up. I tried to do a nice thing that he told me to do. He no longer wants to do it, but I can't not do it. Unbelievable stuff. So one theme that came up, a bunch of people wrote in, taking drives. Now,
can't get Corona in the car.
I can see taking a drive by yourself. I like to drive around listening to music. I would love it. A couple of years ago, I had an issue with my car where the dash light was popping up with a bunch of problems, and you go to the mechanic and they were like, there's something wrong with it, with the computer thing, but until you drive a certain amount of miles, we can't tell if it's a glitch or not. And they're like, so you need to go drive 60 miles an hour speed-wise for an hour straight so that we can hit a certain level and check and see if this is right. And I spent a couple of days trying to do that, which is impossible in the city. Anyway, long story short,
you got arrested.
I kind of like that. I don't remember what I was doing, why I wasn't working at this time. I don't remember. Maybe it was longer ago than I thought. But these people are going for drives with their children. Daniel M. Potter says, we've been going for drives to nowhere. Millennial Mama 90 said, listen to this. My husband and I take turns leaving with the kids for 2 hours and going on long drives to different towns in our area, exploring from the car. She's like, I'll get a nice coffee, point out cool shit, and blast Moana and sing with my kids. And my husband, she was like, my husband texted me an image of him jacking the TV up to 92 just by himself at home for 2 hours. You would think it'd be the opposite, but I guess people want to get out of the house, right?
Yeah.
So they're going out of the house, and that's the benefit they're getting. And meanwhile, he gets some alone time. My favorite thing about this was she said he texted her a photo of jacking the TV volume up in Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights at one point after John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell fall out and they're not friends anymore. John C. Reilly calls Will Ferrell because he's living in his house with his wife.
Right.
And he asks him how you turn up the TV volume while the stereo is also all the way up. And Will Ferrell goes, "Why would you want to have the stereo blasting while the TV's on?" And he goes, "Because I like to party." I always like that. Not as good as the Howie Mandel gag, but a memorable moment from a funny film, Pete.
Yep.
God, what do you hate more? Me recounting scenes from movies or me recounting memes?
It's like, I know exactly what you mean when you say your son tells you about like video game things. It's just like, exactly. It's like, and Dad, I got a Boko club.
I have said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm nothing if not a hypocrite.
Yep.
Allie Frazier 921 says, I did a couple of car picnics with fast food. I know, sad, but I needed to get the F out of the house.
You gotta get out of the house. The other day it was absolutely miserable here. It was a long day. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. It was raining, miserable the whole day. Couldn't really get out. Had to get out because the kids were like, someone was going to not make it out of there. And so I packed them all into the car, much screaming, much yelling.
Yeah.
Mainly from me. And we started driving. We were going to go to Queens just to do the thing where you like the sculptural garden in Astoria. Yeah. And instead we bailed. And I was like, you know what? Let's go see Times Square. And we took 59th Street Bridge.
Driving into Manhattan so easy now,
dude,
too.
It was wild. Yeah. It was wild. It really was amazing. Just completely. It looked like my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, I Am
Legend. I Am Legend.
I blew it.
You totally
running with it. I thought I brought up Vanilla Sky.
You totally blew it. It was the only problem was there wasn't any deer and there wasn't any overgrown plants, but there was absolutely no one there. It was.
But were there any vampires?
There was a couple. Yes,
there were a couple. Well, there you go. It was pretty damn close.
Yeah, exactly.
Carrie Woodhouse said something similar to you, that they went for a long drive to take a walk outside, but mostly they used it to go get Indian takeout. But the whole time the kids were just fighting in the car, and they're like. For them, they were like, we just wanted to get like a good meal rather than like chicken nuggets that you heated in the oven or whatever.
Oh, don't get me wrong. The fighting that happened in the car was so epic and so like just constant. I just couldn't. Yeah, it was the wrong move.
Yeah,
but it was good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to get out for a second though.
So a bunch of people talked about the new skills they were teaching their kids. So Mary_Valez says, teaching my under 21 daughters professional level drinking skills. Now,
Whoa.
I don't know if she means she's teaching them how to drink or she's showing them how to drink with them in the room. Like, is she giving them alcohol or is she just drinking so much they're learning?
They're both the same thing. You can learn by doing or you can learn by observing.
I'm saying, but which is she doing? I don't know. Which are the kids doing?
Little from column A and little from column B.
KSU Julie, who we mentioned earlier, she's from Kansas City. Did you know that? She said, my kid's going to be damn good at card counting and keeping a poker face. So she's going the gambling route with her kid.
Good.
AKM Prel 1011 says she's been potty training the toddler, which is a new skill for the toddler. So much bonding, she says. No, I'm not pooping, I'm peeing.
There you go.
My toddler, he's regressing.
He's
pooping. He sleeps in an overnight diaper because he wasn't totally out of the woods yet, but he was doing good, using the potty for everything.
Yeah.
We're back to diaper town.
Have you tried yelling at him?
I have. That's pretty much the only thing I've tried. Do you have any other suggestions?
I'm out. No, I'm out.
You're disappointing the family and humiliating yourself.
Yeah, if you can contextualize your disappointment, that would be great.
So listen to this. Jay Bear Wynn says that her 5-year-old duct taped the Magnetiles platforms that have wheels on them. You know how some Magnetiles pieces have wheels? She says he's duct taped those to the bottom of his sneakers.
There we go. What's great about that is not only are they sort of like roller skates, they'll definitely destroy your floor much faster than regular roller skates, and the chances of actually slipping out from underneath you
and getting hurt
very high.
They're great.
Sweet. Yeah, that's good.
C.R. Wilkinson says, I'm teaching my kids chess. Of course, the 6-year-old legit beat me, so now I obviously hate it.
You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny is that, my 12-year-old plays chess, and I'm not very good at it, and I get like really nervous when I go to play her.
Lose this time?
Because I don't want to lose to my kid. You know what I mean? Not now. That's all I have.
Just soon.
So what do? I win one game. I take the chessboard. I throw it against the wall. I say, Dad's out. And I walk out. She's screaming. My fists are held high above my head in a victory pumping air. And then I just go for cigarettes and I never come back.
You know
That's
what?
my plan. I haven't executed it yet, but that's
The
my
only
plan.
thing you're doing incorrectly is you're not putting the chessboard in the fireplace.
Ah, good. You know what? I knew there was something I could have.
Anyway, for a good father-son chess movie, you should watch Searching for Bobby Fischer with Joe Mantegna and
Should
Joan
I?
Allen and Lawrence Fishburne. It's actually a really good movie. No Howie Mandel in it. Ben Kingsley, though. Ariel, hold on. This was my favorite one. Well, first of all, there's O'Connor 1743 who lives in Ireland. She says she's teaching her kids all the bad words unwittingly. We're doing the same thing, whether it's like we'll put on a borderline movie because we're running out of stuff to show, or my wife has just the mouth of a sailor. My 4-year-old is literally repeating everything after he says it. So we even watched the show The Good Place where they're supposedly in heaven and they can't say bad words. So they actually say shirt instead of shit and fork instead of fuck. Except every time somebody says, "What the fork?" my 4-year-old repeats it. So he's not only doing the swear words, he's doing the fake swear words.
Well, I can't even at this point, if I pause, like I'm like, oh my God.
They know.
Like, Dad,
yeah.
He's swearing again. I'm like, I'm not fucking swearing, you fucking assholes. I fucking just paused.
It's called restraint, motherfuckers. Jeff the dog says, my husband, which is strange to me that Jeff the dog is not, I guess it could be two men, but it struck me as Jeff the dog. I'm like, oh, it's not the woman? We're going to edit this part out.
yeah.
She says, my husband taught my 4-year-old how to do a shot.
There you go.
Of what?
Probably Jello juice.
Jello
Listen, first of all, it's important. You got to learn how to like take that quantity in. You don't want to sip it. You got to go.
Believe me.
You got to commit.
I've only recently gotten good at it, and it just when it was past the point of ever wanting to do another shot for the rest of my life. Once you get over 30, the interest in shots starts to go down significantly. Over 40, no chance.
Yeah. You know what is weird though? I like getting vaccination shots.
Oh,
so
me
that
too.
is kind of favorite. That is starting to come up. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'll get some more MMR.
They make you feel good for different reasons.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're helping the world. You're staying home and you're flattening the curve. Not that there's a vaccine to COVID-19. That's not what I mean to imply. Yeah, not yet. Got about another year, despite Mr. Trump's insistence that it be done quicker. Come on. Come on, science. Ariel in the ATL. So we got into the miscellaneous category. She says, we bonded with an intense water gun fight. Therapeutic. I hate this. So I don't know what exactly happened.
Well, okay, so Atlanta, yeah, that's got some warm weather. I'm like, water gun fight, man, it's got to be cold. I'm so like constantly damp and cold. It's been so brutal in the Northeast.
So this is a unique one. It's Need Wine says, we did shadow puppets last night and we laughed.
Yeah.
Must have run out of ideas if you're doing shadow. What is this? The 1890s shadow puppets?
Mike.
Kerosene lamp?
Listen. When you're at the bottom, you're at the other end of a vodka bottle, and there's nothing else going on. It's shadow puppet time.
Can you do shadow puppets?
Yeah, it's weird. I can swear in shadow puppets as well as just verbally. I'm very proficient.
Yeah, that's my shadow puppet.
Just horrible hand gestures that make everyone uncomfortable.
She says that we laughed during the shadow puppets, but mostly my 3 kids are terrorists.
Yeah,
which is pretty true.
That's just a way to summarize it.
ABC Mewich says the 3 kids have a sleepover in the basement, so mom and dad get left upstairs and can sleep in. So our kids sleep in our furnished basement, and they don't leave us alone. And we're not able to sleep in. So I don't care if we call it a sleepover or not, which essentially is because they're sleeping on the floor together now. It doesn't change anything for us.
Yeah, it's my daughter's having a virtual sleepover. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Does that mean they all keep like their Zooms on all night?
Exactly, till 11. Yep. So that's a thing.
I got an email from Con Edison today saying that they're alarmed that my electricity usage has gone up 30% since this time last year. You think so? Maybe have somebody check your emails for context, you jerks. Heart of Steel, heart_of steel with an extra E at the end. This was my favorite comment of all the miscellaneous ones. They're playing a game called Take It to the Face. Basically, you take turns throwing something relatively soft at each other's face/head, and the other person has to take it to the face. That's the whole comment. It's a fun game.
Yeah,
I think
that's like butts up.
I'm not going to tell my wife that I'm playing it, and then we're gonna ball up my socks. She hates feet and socks. I'm just throw it at her face.
There you go.
Lose. You just lost. Take it to the face.
You know what you can do? Just put it in the divorce stick, the grabber thing, and then just put those socks right in her face. There you go.
Just hold them up against her face until she explodes with rage.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you're dealing with this because I know your oldest uses TikTok, but Lil Gabcar says my entire life has TikTok songs as a background sound. Are you dealing with that?
No, not at all. Everything is fine in this house. Everything is fine. We're totally okay. There's no TikTok, and everything is fine. I know the whoa. I know all the dances, but we're all okay. It's taken over our life, and I don't know what else to do.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's every single day. It's like that, something like that. That's horrible.
I couldn't really see. Were you like pantomiming a bike ride? What was happening?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's if you can't see it, there's no point in even describing it. But
so you know who is having a great time? L Hala 16 says that she's doing virtual darts and virtual beer pong with her sister-in-law and brother-in-law via Zoom. How does virtual beer pong work?
So I heard about this. I don't know because I haven't done it, but I had it explained. Our friend Tim was having something similar where you basically set up the cups like you normally would, and you basically just one person goes on their end on their screen, and I guess you're somehow seeing it because that would be more fun.
If they hit it, you drink it.
Exactly, and so it's not even that. It's kind of cool, and even virtual.
Do it.
Yeah, virtual darts make sense too because then you go then. Yeah, the other person goes.
Yeah, you can just tally up the points that way. I think beer pong would be more fun because also there's more beer involved.
You know what's real fun is beer darts. It gets really good. There's a curve to that too of fun level. It gets kind of boring and then it's super fun.
It's
and
even
really
more fun
dangerous.
if you wear the wheelie magnetiles on your sneakers while you do it.
Yes, super fun.
So, Cut Shallow says he's been showing his 4-year-old rock videos on MTV Classic every day. That's cool. Nice. Like I like doing that kind of thing. Like my kid doesn't have the attention span for it. So like anytime I'm like excited to show him something, even if it's like by a band where I've already like introduced him to a song or two, getting them to like pay attention for more than like 30 seconds is basically impossible. But I like the idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah. My 8-year-old, my 9-year-old was talking about was humming "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" the other day.
Albano.
Yeah, and I was like, "Wait, what song are you humming?" She's like, "Girls Want to Have Fun." Why? And I was like, "No reason. Yeah, just
I know what that
just
is.
Wanted to know." And then I took out my little notebook and I wrote it down. And I said, "Okay, carry on." And I said, "Carry on."
She was surprised you knew what it was.
She took out her notebook. She took out her notebook and wrote it down. And she said, "Okay, carry on." And I said, "Pleasant interacting with you." She said, "Likewise, sir."
So speaking of like ways families are bonding and killing time during quarantine, I freelance for thedad.com sometimes. Check out their Facebook page. And I wrote an article about a family in Washington, the state, that recreated. Have you ever seen the Journey video Separate Ways? It's like super 80s, super like low tech. They're like, at one point the keyboard is like playing air keyboard against like a steel barn. It's like unbelievably weird choreography. The most 80s thing you've ever seen. They recreated it with their family, and they posted it side by side on Vimeo. It's actually really funny. Usually I hate that stuff, but it's really funny. You should check it out, Pete.
All right. Well, listen, if it's coming from you, I'm definitely going to, and it's on Facebook, I'm definitely checking it out. You know me.
Do you know how hard it is for me to not keep referencing movies right now? I threw you a bone with something a little bit different. So I've got 2 more comments to go. One is heartwarming and one is hilarious. Which one do you want first?
Let's definitely end with hilarious. Let's get the heartwarming one out of the way. Quit like a Band-Aid.
Bentini80, who writes a goddamn book every week, just like 7 messages in my DMs with all her stuff. She's already had a comment or 2 earlier on this one. She said, my second baby is due this week. So we talked about her in the past. I think one of our first quarantine episodes or COVID episodes about how harrowing it must be to like have to go to the hospital when you're about to give birth, when you're pregnant. She said, my second baby is due this week. It's given me lots of time to soak up my last few weeks with my older son. That's been kind of nice. I just really like the kind of, but it was pretty sweet because things do change when you have a second kid, especially for your oldest kid, who suddenly realizes he's not the only game in town anymore.
No, might as well pack up and move out.
Exactly. So one more heartwarming one. Cookie Cook Monster says her daughters are in their 20s, so they take turns making dinner for them every night. How miserable are these daughters who are in your house with you? No offense. They're in their 20s and they're stuck at home with mom and dad. Anyway, it sounds lovely.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are you talking about?
No, lovely for the parents, but the 20-year-olds, wouldn't you rather be like, I don't know.
What?
Alone?
On COVID Island and making out? Where are you going to go? What's your... God.
Look, you know what? I've got problems.
Okay.
All right. So this is a really funny one. Cassafras25 says, this is the whole message. The 1-year-old was eating fistfuls of uncooked rice, and the 2-year-old threw it all over my goddamn kitchen. First of all, obviously the 2-year-old is any kid is gonna make a mess with rice. The 1-year-old is eating uncooked rice? Why?
That is, well, it looks like rice is heavily available and readily available in this kitchen at all times. She meant
that's all they're eating.
Yeah. By the way, uncooked rice in the stomach, I feel like can really
expand, perhaps.
I think so. I don't know. I don't really know. All I know is conspiracy theories and wives' tales. So I'm really
same with me. Fake news. I guess we did take over fake news. I am the king of all media.
There you go. Congratulations, Howard Stern. Move over.
You know what? He has gotten a little soft.
Oh, wow. What else do we have? Is that it? I think
that's it.
Wow, that was a whole smorgasbord.
So I gotta say, a lot of people, obviously we live in the city, so circumstances are a little bit different. Like we don't have a driveway to play hoops in. Most of the playgrounds and that kind of stuff are closed. You can go to the park, which is just large. So I've mentioned going to the park, and people are like, you can go to parks, they're closed. I'm like, around here, because nobody has, green spaces, the park isn't just slides and stuff, which are closed off. You can go just play Frisbee or do whatever, and run and bike ride, was what you've been doing. I wish we had a trampoline. I feel like that would be pretty easy. I think I'm going to check out that Pokemon Go thing that my Peanut Adventure said.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a good way to get my kid enthusiastic to walk around the neighborhood.
You know what would you could do well with is just spending about 2.5 minutes on Amazon looking for small trampolines and then put one in your backyard.
We have a tiny one for in the house.
Yeah, I know that one, and that one's a garbage. You need the slightly bigger one. That one's for the little kids when they're learning how to walk. You need the 2-kid one. It's slightly bigger. It's not the huge trampoline, but come on, that's going to be perfect in your backyard.
You know what, Pete?
Let's get at it.
Maybe I'll look into it. Okay. I haven't done a lot of that. I haven't done a lot of online shopping or splurging on stuff because I'm housebound and stir crazy or anything like that. Have you? Have you been buying like stuff for yourself?
No. I
never buy anything for myself except beer. No.
Except for I did purchase a couple small exotic animals. I mean, they're small now. They're 2 baby tigers. They're and an
Watch
egg.
out for your wife, man. Watch out for your wife.
yeah. Well, actually, she's the one who purchased them, which is so weird.
Oh, that is weird.
So weird. I don't get it.
Must have read your mind.
But no, my brother was offering me his trampoline. Ours, we also have a yard, but it's not quite conducive enough for a trampoline.
Well,
whereas I think yours would be. No, I think yours would be good actually.
It's a little wider, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I got trampoline envy, dude.
Well, we both have grills, which as it gets nicer, that's a key. We grilled a little bit tonight, and I think hopefully it'll finally get some real spring weather here and some summer. Summer might be rough. Summer might be rough in the city, but we'll see. We'll talk about that when we get to it, won't we, Pete?
There we go. Exactly. All right. Well, I think we got it, right? We got everything?
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for all your comments. Please listen, subscribe, and rate us. You can rate us on Apple. If you want to give us money, you can join Patreon or Anchor to do that. But mostly we just like listening to your comments, reading.
Listening to ourselves talk.
Okay. We mostly just like listening to each other. We don't care if you support us or not. Obviously.
So listen, if you are listening and you do want to support us, please just interject at any point in a conversation you're having with someone else about the podcast. Tell people that you, one, listen to podcasts, two, explain what a podcast is, then tell the person to stop talking and to listen to you, and then mention specifically this episode. And and then things are going to go real well for you.
It'd be very meta if you were like, you want a good way to kill time during a quarantine? Listen to the Dad and Buried episode about killing time during the quarantine.
Yeah.
Not your meta. People are
you know
like,
what?
wow, this guy's an artist.
I don't know if you like slow clapping, but that's going to happen if you do that.
It is.
Because people are going to love that.
Only if you pull it off. Don't blow it, folks.
Yeah.
Out there.
And then let us know how it goes.
Please
All right.
do.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
A salute and a peace sign.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, that was it. Double salute. See you next time. Bye.
I don't know why you would still be watching this isn't a Marvel movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.